So Yahvi, let's just dive into it.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. So I want to understand what inspired you to start Nandan.
So I didn't start Nandan. Nandan was started by my grandparents in the early 90s. They were really inspired just by the environment around them. They were really passionate about creating a really good product. So our neighbors were growing coffee, and then that's how, in a small town like Kodi, everyone interacts with one another. And so they got really interested in the entire process of growing coffee.
Absolutely.
They were really passionate about it. So what got me involved in the business is I think I was, like most people our age, a lost, 20-year-old.
I think the 20s are just like a time where you feel a little more confused and you're just like, okay, what's my calling? What do I really want to do?
For sure. And I was trying everything. I was testing out law, finance.
You went through the drill, basically.
I went through the drill, and for some reason I never thought to look right under my nose, which was this amazing estate that existed in the family. And when I finally went to work with my dad one day, and he said, listen, you cannot just sit at home and not do anything. And I agreed, but I was just looking for something to do. And he said, look at Nandan and see if there's anything about this that excites you.
Yeah.
And from the second I started reading about it, so many fond memories came back about... I feel like I've grown up at the estate, and so many memories came back. And I remember, the smell of the coffee roasting while I was running around and playing. And I remember walking through the estate with my grandparents. And I had such an emotional connect to the place. And that's what inspired me to run the coffee. And obviously, it's a product that I grew up drinking. But they really ran it with so much passion that I never looked at it as a business.
You always probably looked at it as something which was an extension of you.
Yeah. It was an extension of us, of our family. And so when I started then to look at it from a more business lens, I just fell in love with it.
You fell in love with it. Yeah. How did you come up with the name Nandan, and what exactly does it mean?
So Nandan comes from Nandan Van, and Nandan Van is paradise and forest kind of put together.
Okay.
And if you see any
sounds
pictures,
beautiful.
It is. So Nandan Van is, it's my favorite place. It's just the most beautiful. There are 20 plus species of birds. We have a river flowing through.
Gorgeous.
And since all of our coffee comes from Nandan estate, the name Nandan Coffee.
The name Nandan came up. I also wanted to ask you one thing. Since it's a third generational thing, Yahvi, do you ever feel the pressure to uphold your family's legacy in any way?
I don't feel pressure, but I do see inspiration in everything that they've done. I think they really set the bar so high that I'm constantly inspired by the level of quality they were able to achieve. And at a time when we didn't have, technology at our fingertips, we didn't have things like low MOQs. The barrier to entry wasn't so low. So I'm so inspired by the quality that they created. They got coffee awards at a time when Indian coffee wasn't even heard of. People even within India didn't know that India grew such high quality coffee. That's a movement that's only coming in now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they took Nandan to global stages. And so I am definitely very inspired by what they did. I don't feel pressure, but it is definitely a motivating factor.
It's a motivating factor.
Yeah.
Which is great. I also wanted to ask you, looking back, what advice would you give your younger self?
So, I think there's two things, and I'm thinking about this now. But I would definitely, one thing is to keep it moving. I think initially, especially as a younger entrepreneur, every decision feels like a massive decision.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming.
And you always want to make sure you're making the right decision. Yeah. And in making that right decision, sometimes you're stuck.
You're fully stuck, and at that point, there's no movement, plus there's anxiety.
Yes.
You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, where am I?
Yeah, and you're constantly questioning yourself. And so one big piece of advice, which I still tell myself sometimes, is to just keep it moving and just take a decision. And if it's not the right decision, you can always fix it later. And that's the second piece of advice, which is that you don't know whether your decision is the right decision, but you have to make the decision you took
be the right decision. Because not taking a decision is also taking a decision.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes. And that's the worst decision.
That's the worst decision because you don't know where you're at all.
Yeah.
Do you have overwhelming days at Nandan where things are just not going well and you're like,
Yeah.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
This is just too much.
Yeah, a lot. Especially it happens during openings. It happens randomly. I mean, in a business, there's so many things that are outside of your control.
Yeah.
Everything is outside of your control.
Almost.
And so there are days where you're literally like, everything that I'm touching is just going to shit.
And it's just getting screwed up and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I can imagine that.
Yeah. Those are fun though. You always look back and laugh at
You
days
look
like
back
that.
and laugh at it, but on that particular day, you're like, I really don't know what's happening.
But they always make for fantastic stories.
Fantastic stories.
So you always remember
I agree with that. I had one more question, Yahvi. What is the craziest customer experience you all have had at Nandan?
The craziest... So every Sunday is always like a...
I've seen lines outside Nandan on Sunday now.
Yeah.
Like that's one coffee shop I've actually seen lines outside
And
in
Sundays
Bombay.
are always those days. And people would be shocked because Sunday morning, like 8 a.m. is our busiest time. And you don't expect that. You think people are sleeping in, but people are out and about and they finish their workout or, you know, they're out with their grandparents or their kids or whatever. But most of the time, they're out with their dogs. And so every Sunday morning, we've got like either huge like huskies or labs and the really big ones. And so that's always a little crazy when you're trying to maneuver, you know, different dogs. And it's a fairly tight space.
Yeah, it's a fairly tight space, but I'm so glad you made it pet friendly.
Yeah.
It's so cute to have like these furry animals coming in because when I've also come, I've seen such cute dogs at your cafe.
It was very important for us to make it pet friendly because Nandan One and Nandan Coffee as a brand has always believed in being fair to animals. And so our estate is completely fenceless. We've kind of grown up, the brand has grown up with those principles. And so when we were creating a space to make it really inclusive, you want a space where people can bring in their pets because pets are so important.
Pets are genuinely so important.
So
I used to have a dog and I wanted to like take my dog everywhere.
And there was no place to take them at all. And so when we created Nandan, I said, listen, it's really important that it's a space where if you truly want to come and spend time, you want to bring your pet with you and spend time.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. And also, Yahvi, one more thing that I deeply think about is like, you know, when you're running a business, you know, your set of values that you have, what are like your core set of values while you're running Nandan?
So up until very recently, a lot of my values came from how I saw my grandparents and my parents operating, right? And so they were never written or spoken of, but we always wanted to make sure we did the right thing. That
came very naturally to you because that's what you'd grown up seeing.
That's what I'd grown up seeing, and that's how I'd seen. Nandan is a very old brand, you know, so to speak. It's had a life of its own far before I came into it.
But I feel you've done a beautiful job because I feel like Nandan obviously must have existed, but I think you've grown it to like a household name and commercialized it a little bit, not losing the essence of what it initially was, but still it's very different.
Yeah, so
because today everyone knows about it.
I hope so. I hope so. So for me, you know, it was really important to continue that legacy. So obviously it was always doing the right thing, which is, you know, we've had our organic certification for 20 years. So it wasn't like chasing a trend in the market. So that was a big value for us. Being sustainable, again, is something we've always done, which was a big value. So anytime we took any decisions, we always made sure there was sustainability in mind. Creativity was a really big value because it was really important, and creativity really comes from the mindset where there's no such thing as it's not possible or we can't do this because it's never been done, right?
Yeah.
So creativity was a big value that comes really from having a very solution-oriented mindset. Of, okay, if I can't do it like this, maybe I can do it like this, or I can do it like this. But
I feel all family businesses teach you that you're like, okay, this A thing needs to be done, but I'm going to try B, I'm going to try D, and I'm going to try E, and I'm just going to see what works.
I need to get from point A to point B. Now, whether I go flying, walking, rolling, somersaulting, doesn't matter.
I think
I have to get
that's all our parents and grandparents are like, this has to be done. Now you figure how you want to get it done. Yeah, correctly, obviously.
And so recently in, I think Dad and I sat down and we really said, okay, what are the values? Because now as the company is growing, it's really important that everyone around us, although my team very luckily always lived the values, but it's really important that it's outlined. People have a clear roadmap because that guides the decision-making process of the entire company.
Absolutely, and the team is very important in that sense. Yeah. That you ultimately go with.
Yeah. Because our teams are the ones on ground interacting with customers, running the day-to-day operations. So, it was really important. So, I think the values we wrote out were integrity, which is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So, everything from like our kitchen is as clean as our front of house, or inside the cabinets are as clean as on top of the counters. Quality, obviously.
Quality is great. Like, I absolutely love your coffee and I absolutely love your cortado. I think it's the best cortado I've had in Bombay. It's so good. Yahvi, one more thing that I wanted to ask you. As you're already running Nandan, which is your like OG coffee place to go pick up coffee from other than Nandan that you absolutely love?
Other than Nandan? So if I'm in Bombay, Mag Street.
I love Mag Street.
Kala Ghoda Cafe. Nutcracker.
Yeah.
These are some of my go-tos in Bombay. That's obviously, these are also easy because they're, all of our customers also. So it's Nandan without Nandan.
I absolutely love KGC also. Their cold coffee is really good. Again, it has a very vintage vibe going on, so it's like lovely. One more thing I wanted to ask you is, do you have any rival cafe that motivates you to do better? Like, hey, they're doing such a good job and like, I want to do better.
So I look at different spaces for different inspiration. My friends at Vanilla Miel are absolutely amazing in terms of, their creativity with putting out desserts,
marketing,
aesthetics, everything that they do. So they do an amazing job. I always look at, it's not a competitor and it's not a cafe, but I always keep Table as one of the benchmarks of how they make customers feel when you enter the space.
The mac and cheese, everything is like so nice.
Table
absolutely love it.
My favorite. So I always look at them when I try and build out the hospitality and how committed they are to quality again, So I always look to them to see
They've also revamped the entire menu. I think it used to be really different and they've like really revamped it.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, because back in the day from school, my mom used to take me there to have like the cannelloni because it used to be really good.
Yeah.
And all of us, like as a family, were obsessed with the cannelloni at the table. But what's the weirdest customer experience you've had at Nandan? Like the weirdest thing that any customer has ever done?
Let me think about that for a second. I think, what happens is when you're in hospitality, you want to make everyone feel super comfortable and super welcome. And then you're kind of walking a tightrope because what might make one customer super comfortable makes another customer
really
very uncomfortable. And so you're trying to make sure that everyone is feels like it's a safe space. I think the weirdest things that tend to happen is sometimes we have an open coffee bar and we want people to feel super involved in the coffee making process, but we have had people who are the hopper, which is where the coffee beans go into. Sometimes they'll just like open it and grab a bean.
Oh my god.
Which is like, we want the space to be open and we want you to come in and please watch that's the whole point of the open bars where you can stand right next to our team.
And it's such a New York concept. Like every time I've come to Nandan, I've got the vibe that I'm like in West Village in New York.
Yeah, because it's coffee culture, right? And that's what we wanted to create. We wanted to create a very immersive space. So you can spend hours there or you can have a quick grab and go. And that's why the space was designed.
You've added like a grab part as well, which I think initially wasn't there. And I think that also looks very lovely.
Thank you.
Absolutely lovely. Which cafe in Bombay do you think is overrated?
I think everyone has their own strengths. I think that, what's really cool about the way the coffee scene is going in India is that there are a lot of roasters that are coming up with their own cafes, which is very cool. And those are more coffee-centric and coffee-driven places. I think anything where the drinks are really lavish and the coffee itself is hidden behind
the lavishness of
the drink. I always find it, I wouldn't say it's overrated, but it's just geared towards a different audience. And you know, coffee drinkers are very varied. Like, there is an audience for that.
And I feel people who truly like coffee, they actually pick coffee from places where the coffee is genuinely really good, and it just doesn't look good.
And I think like the hype around it kind of kills the product itself.
It does.
And the craft. So
one thing I really like about the Nandan Coffee is
I have a great crazy customer story for you.
Please tell me.
Okay, it just came to mind. So 2 weeks ago, I was there, and this is not just a customer, but a friend of mine who came into the store. And we serve amazing, beautiful gelato, which costs like, you know, 200 or 400 bucks a scoop. It's really expensive because it's really good. And this friend of mine came in and asked to have 4 shots of espresso, or two double shots, so like 4 shots of espresso blended with 4 scoops of gelato in a blender.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of sugar, it's a lot of coffee, it's a lot of gelato, and more than that, the entire team looked up and they kind of looked at me, because that would have probably been like a 1,500 rupee order, which was just,
so was your friend happy?
Just one glass. He loved it.
He loved it.
He ordered a second one.
Oh my god.
Like, this is the time where we wish we had some Amul stuffed away somewhere.
It's supposed to be like fancy gelato. It's not supposed to be like you're just making a milkshake.
So good.
I want to come and have this.
We might add it to the menu.
Just add it.
Figure out a way to make it.
But who is actually going to spend? What did the total amount to for the scoops plus the shots?
It was like 1,500.
Yeah, so who's going to spend like 1,500 on like one drink?
It was a good friend of mine, so I comped it for him because I didn't have the heart to put up the bill. Like,
but he really seems to be like a foodie and like very fond of like coffee and like ice
and
cream.
he insisted on the bill, but you know, I really didn't have the heart to print that bill. So what does happen sometimes is people have all these add-ons, right? So they go, I want like an extra shot and I want like 2 flavors, but the way it works
you know,
is
I'm that person
each
too.
add-on has like a cost.
It does. It really does. Because I know when I'm also ordering coffee, sometimes I'm like, you know what? No, I want 3 shots.
Yeah.
And I want hazelnut. And I still want less sugar. So I want 1 pump of hazelnut. And sometimes the barista just looks at me like, A, that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
B, like, and I'm trying to make it like decaf and stuff.
No, but also what gets awkward is when you start adding in all those add-ons, you go, how am I going to explain to this person that it's like 1,200 bucks?
Yeah. And you don't want to be unreasonable and then like shock them. You know, towards the end where they're like,
but at
how
the same
is this
time,
so much?
you're like, but
just see it once.
So I think that was the funniest thing that's happened recently.
No, I love this, Yahvi. This actually sounds so good that now I want to come and have it.
It's great. We're going to add it to the menu.
Please add it to the menu.
And call it the Sugar Rush.
The Sugar Rush, yeah. This is definitely a Sugar Rush. So Yahvi, if someone had to start their own coffee shop, what advice would you give them?
Be super clear on who your customer is and what your messaging to that customer is. And don't try and make everyone your customer. So, you know, be super clear on that, and then everything just works.
Like sort of have a niche.
Have a niche.
And do you think like reaching break-even point initially is really hard when you're opening something like this?
It just depends on so many factors, right? It depends on how much you've invested, what your location is, how big the space is, what your footfall is, what your business model is.
Fair enough. So there's a lot of detailing one has to go into like building a coffee shop.
Yeah.
How do you think Nandan has evolved from like your small grandparents' home to the commercial enterprise it is today?
I think the only thing that has really evolved a lot is obviously the size of market that we have right now. Even though what my grandparents started was super small, there was so much depth to it in terms of the amount of research that they had done, the practices that we had in place. So maybe we've gotten in some new technology and we've expanded the production a little bit, but at its core, Nandan still is exactly what it was 20
Do you feel
years
emotional
ago.
about it because in a way it's related to your grandparents?
Yeah, I do. I have a very, very strong emotional connect to the brand.
It really helps, right?
It helps, but sometimes it really hinders because you really need to be able to take a step back and see it for what it is. And sometimes because there's so much emotional connect, at least earlier, I used to struggle with vocalizing what the brand is. But instinctively, I would be like, this is Nandan, this is not. So I had to do a lot of work in putting what is that? What is Nandan? What does that mean? And putting that out there.
What are your top 5 favorite restaurants, bars, clubbing places in Bombay that you would recommend to everyone in Bombay to go to in their 20s?
Ooh, okay. This doesn't really count as a bar, but I love Mondi's.
Where is this? I don't know.
Mondi's, and it's in Colaba. It's like there's Leopold and there's Mondi's.
Okay,
like,
got
those
it.
are like the two like watering ones. I love that for like a chill, anytime vibe. For food, my favorite places are Table, Trishna, Swati.
I love Swati.
And then like your usual suspects, which are Bombay Canteen, O Pedro.
Bombay Canteen is nice. O Pedro is okay.
You're vegetarian.
I'm vegetarian. I haven't gotten a lot of food at like O Pedro. In fact, recently I was in Japan and I barely got any food at all.
Yeah.
My friend and I, we lived on like protein bars and bananas.
And seaweed.
And mango smoothie or 7-Eleven. And I've come back sick. Like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to like proper foods. I was like, yeah, I can't live on like protein bars and like bananas and mango smoothies. Like, it's just not cutting it for me.
I'm trying to think of bars. I love the Eka bar.
Eka is lovely.
Yeah, the bar is awesome. And I just love how immersive the entire experience is. I love how they use so many Indian origin cocktails. And ingredients. I like any bar I can go to and I can speak. You know, where people can hear me talking. It's not so loud.
We've really become old in that sense, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Yahvi, so what do you think about the new matcha trend that's been going crazy?
I think it's really exciting to have another drink that has as much of a demand as coffee. I don't love how much it's being bastardized in terms of like the blueberry matcha or the strawberry matcha.
I have something to say here though, but isn't that nicer because it's sweeter and it doesn't taste like pure matcha?
Matcha is definitely an acquired taste, which I think could be said for coffee as well, right? Because if you really...
And wine.
Yeah, like anything. But I think, you know, the beauty behind matcha was the ritual behind it and doing it by hand and really immersing yourself in that experience. But now, as a cafe operator especially, you have to balance the speed at which you serve with how you're prepping it. And although we found really great ways to prep it without it losing its taste, you're losing that ritual behind it. And so, you know, it's this kind of like battle between like preserving like the culture of a product versus being able to serve it to so many people.
Yeah,
and we're already seeing shortages. It's definitely an interesting drink. It's not my drink of choice, but it's
not my drink of choice.
But I see like the...
Have you tried the Blank Street matcha though?
I haven't.
Okay, that's actually good. That's something you should genuinely try. Anyways, what are your future plans for Nandan?
We're planning on continuing to expand our cafes a little bit, but keep them extremely experiential. Our plan is to continue our sustainability initiatives really aggressively. So obviously certified organic was something we've been for 20 years. All of our coffee processing, which is after the harvest, all of that has always been done by the harvested rainwater that we've collected throughout the year. That's been something that's been part of our sustainability initiatives. But what we're getting into now is just 2 months ago, we started roasting using solar power.
Okay.
So our entire roastery is run by solar power. And our next steps now is to make our spaces carbon neutral. So try and recycle our cups, just get as sustainable as possible.
I love the idea that you guys are like, you know, trying to get more sustainable and keep the environment in mind. Yeah. It's very rare.
Especially as we scale, it becomes more and more important that we don't lose that side of the business.
You know, as a young girl, since you're in this industry and, you know, I'm sure you're having your battles every day, what advice would you give other women who are like either running their businesses or want to start something?
I don't know that if this is advice specifically to women, because like I don't know what it would be like to be a man in business.
Absolutely.
I don't find anything particularly challenging, to be honest,
You would say
through that lens. I think you just have to present yourself the way you want
people to perceive
accept
you.
and perceive
Absolutely.
you, and that's how you
Absolutely. Okay, so Yahvi, what is your favorite coffee order at Nandan?
So my favorite order recently has been to not have an order. I walk into the store and I ask the team to just give me whatever they feel like it. And so that's really fun because every day is a surprise.
It's a surprise,
for me.
yeah. And what is the last one that they made for you?
Today I had an off-the-menu order. I had, it was on our winter menu for last year, but it was just a latte with caramel and cinnamon, and it was called Yahvi's Winter Latte.
I love it.
So I used to drink it when I was in college and freezing all the time. And so that's what I had today.
Okay, perfect. So Yahvi, let's jump into the rapid fire. Pour over espresso.
Espresso.
Fine dining or vada pav.
Vada pav.
Coffee or cocktails.
Coffee.
Hazelnut or caramel.
Caramel.
Chai or coffee.
Coffee.
Movies or books.
Books.
Going out or staying in.
Staying in.
What do you think about coffee raves?
Overdone.
Favorite restaurant.
Table.
Favorite bar.
Eka.
Eka. Mumbai coffee spots or Bangalore coffee spots.
Mumbai, but soon Bangalore.
But soon Bangalore. And yeah, that's about it. Let's go.
Sick.